So our next speaker is a healthy relationships coach who helps good girls reclaim their power, voice, and find fulfilling relationships by building boundaries, confidence, and effective communication skills. She has been coaching for over 10 years and has a degree in psychology from the University of Warwick and is qualified in mindfulness and coaching with trauma. She's an award winning speaker and she's been interviewed on BBC Radio, many podcasts, and she has spoken at the Women's Economic Forum on how to handle difficult conversations with confidence. So please put your hands together for a big virtual applause for Helen Snape.
Thank you so much, Monica, for that really, really lovely introduction. And welcome everyone to this workshop on communicating with confidence. What we're going to be covering is looking at, what are the fears that hold us back from communicating with confidence in the public speaking arena? What is it that you can do? What is your roadmap to building your confidence in this area? And three practical tips that you're going to take away today to instantly boost your confidence in speaking in public. Can't get much better than that. So what is it about this fear of public speaking? It's said that most people fear public speaking worse than death. And I remember I joined Toastmasters because I was terrified of public speaking. Well, this fear, it has several different roots to it. The first thing is the inner critic. It's that little voice that sits on your shoulder going, ning, 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 ning. And it says things like, you can't do it. You're not good enough. You're not interesting. Nobody's going to listen to what you have to say. And all those things. And don't tell anyone, I have an inner critic too. It's just for some of us, it's louder than it is for others. And so that can really put us off. It's also, we can be really scared about other people's reactions. We worry about how they're going to judge us, or, that they're going to laugh at us, or they're going to be critical. And we can't bear that. There's also that fear of making mistakes, a fear of falling flat on your face. And I'm going to tell you a secret. We all make mistakes. We all do. I'm probably going to make some horrible mess up in the middle of this workshop. Anyway, we all make mistakes. But, that can be a real fear. Yeah, get mind freeze and can't remember what to say. Oh, got a good practical tip coming up for you for that. Excellent. And sometimes it's just we don't know what to say. It may be that we're just not sure of the words to use in a particular situation. Or I know for some people, if they're speaking in a language that isn't their native language, then they get worried that they're going to use the wrong words or the wrong grammar or something. And so all of these different elements, all add up to this, oh my God, I can't speak. Well, what is it that confident communicators have in common? Well, the first thing is that they are able to harness their breath and their voice so that they're not just kind of speaking from here, they're speaking from their whole body, from their head and their voice. The second thing is practice. Practice, practice, practice. You probably see some amazing speeches which look like they're just improvised, they're on the spot. Well, I tell you what, most of them, they have probably practiced over and over. And they've just got so good at it, it looks like improv. They're also able to stay present. And what I mean by that is, yes, they might have a little inner critic that's trying to tell them, oh, you're not good enough, you're this, you're that. But they're able to let that go. So they're able to stay in the moment and deliver. They also invest in honing their craft. And what I mean by that is, maybe they found a mentor through Toastmasters, maybe they work with a coach, or maybe it's the seeking feedback from other speakers, both the positive and some constructive feedback as well. So that they know, where they need to work on, where they can improve, what they can do better next time. They're also comfortable with making mistakes. So yeah, of course, they make mistakes too, but instead of beating themselves up about it, they see it as, okay, that didn't work. I now know something else that doesn't work. let me see what I can learn from that. Maybe what can I do differently next time? And finally, confident speakers often are coming to their subject with passion, right? Like there is something bigger than them that is driving them to be talking about whatever they're talking about. And so that something bigger than them gives them that passion, that energy that we so admire. And so that then brings me on to, what is it that you can work on as your roadmap to building your confidence in public speaking, before we get on to the practical bits and pieces that I want to show you today. So for the long-term roadmap, I say the first thing is to work on your self-talk. Now, we can't always, stop the possibly negative thoughts that drift into our minds, but we can begin to notice them and then park them and then choose what our next thought is. So when that thought comes in of, oh, will anybody be interested in what I have to say? Maybe we can choose to say, actually, yes, what I'm saying is really interesting and valuable. So it's learning to master your self-talk. There's also learning to free your breath and your voice. Because when we kind of get really anxious, we're not using our whole breath, and then it doesn't support our voice. And then we can kind of end up sounding kind of squeaky. And then that kind of makes us more anxious. So working on freeing up your breath and your voice is really important. There's also work on the mindset around making mistakes. So learning not to see it as the end of the world, I've just made a mistake. And instead beginning to see it as that was a learning opportunity, and actually it's okay to take risks. And finally, there's working on and investing in honing your craft. Whether that is, finding a mentor with Toastmasters, working with a coach, or seeking that feedback, more feedback from other people on when you talk. It's all really valuable. And so now I'm going to move on to the practical tips, the 3 practical tips that you can take away today to instantly boost your confidence in public speaking. And do feel free to take notes if you want to. There will be a handout that will cover these tips as well, just so you're aware of that. So the first tip is the mind trick. And this works so beautifully because the mind doesn't actually know the difference between what you're imagining and what's actually happening. So what I'd love you to do is pop in the chat what your level of confidence is in public speaking on a scale of 1 to 10, with a 10 being, I'm completely confident in public speaking, let's bring it on, let's do it now, to a 1 being, oh my God, it's terrifying, I can't possibly even imagine, or somewhere in between. Okay, so we've got like a whole range here. We've got, yeah, some 5 and a 2 and a 4 and a 6. And whatever level you're at is absolutely fine. And just ask yourself, like, how do you feel about public speaking? What is it that you think when you kind of think about the prospect of speaking in public? Oh, that's interesting as well. Yeah, so for some of you, it might depend on the forum where you're speaking. You know, some people are actually more comfortable on camera and others are more comfortable on stage. Yeah, nervous. Yeah, don't like lots of people staring at me. I can relate to that. All those eyes. All those eyes. Yeah. Nervous and too visible. Okay. So what I would like you to do for the first exercise is to get yourself comfortable and either close your eyes or just soften your gaze. And I want you to take a deep breath. And imagine that you have level 10 confidence. You are totally confident. You are as confident as you will ever be. Just notice, whilst you're imagining that, how you feel with level 10 confidence. What are you thinking? And maybe like, what do you look like? Imagine feeling completely confident and grateful for this confidence that has always been inside of you. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, come back into the room, and I'd love for you to pop in the chat what a level 10 out of 10 confidence is like for you. I know for me, you know, level 10 confidence, I'm like a badass warrior woman. I'm huge. I'm huge. It was great. Oh yeah, I felt really good. I know, right? Unfazed. Yeah, powerful, relaxed and empowered. Isn't it amazing, like what we can do with our minds when we put our minds to it? Energized and Obama-like. I love that. So the mind trick here is that you can choose to move up by 2 levels of confidence whenever you choose to do so. So for example, if you were feeling, say, level 4 confidence, you could say, I choose level 6 confidence. Just imagine what it's like and choose it. Because it's just not that much of a leap for your brain, right? I mean, if you were like level 1 confidence and you just were like, I'm going to choose level 10, that might be a bit too much of a leap. But moving up by 2, your mind doesn't really know the difference. And you can do that, and you can keep something with you to remind you to do it as well. So I sometimes carry around a card with the 2 of hearts on it as a reminder. I can choose to be 2 more confident than I am now. So that is the mind trick. The second tip for you to take away today is the body boost. Now, what I would like you to do first of all is just to notice what your body is doing right now. What is your posture? You know, are you, and everyone's going to get self-conscious now. Are you kind of hunched, looking down? Or, you know, are you like laid back? Are you like stretching out? For those of you with your cameras off, just notice. And the amazing thing about this is that research has shown that not only does our body language and our body posture influence other people's views of us, it actually influences our view of ourselves. And when we kind of, you know, do this like hunching over and crossing our arms and looking down, we're making ourselves smaller. We're making ourselves less powerful. Whereas when we stretch out, when we get bigger, we are inviting in power. And it actually decreases our cortisol levels, it decreases our stress, and increases testosterone. And the way we can harness this is by allowing our body to inform our mind of how confident we want to be. So our body influences our mind influences our behavior, and our behavior influences our outcomes. And for this body boost trick, I have Amy Cuddy to thank. You can Google her afterwards. And the way it works, and this is where you're actually going to like have to get out of your chair if you're able to. If you can't, if you're not, then absolutely fine. But do join along with me. All you need to do is stand like Superman or Superwoman, you know, chin lifted a bit. And basically you're just putting your arms and legs out like a starfish. And this is making yourself big and powerful. And if this doesn't feel comfortable for you, then you can alternate it a bit. You can vary it. So you could, for example, instead have your hands on your hips. Or if you're not able to stand up or that's not comfortable, then you could just raise your arms and just imagine yourself in a really open posture. And you don't need to do this for very long. Like, you only need to do this for a couple of minutes. And you can do this before any situation where you have to speak and you feel like you might be judged. So it's perfect for before a job interview, or before you go and speak on stage or in front of the camera. You know, if you're speaking on stage, you could go and do this in the toilets. I mean, you could do it in the middle of a room where there's lots of other people, depending on how self-conscious you are. And remember the self-talk to go with it. So when you're standing like this, remember to be telling yourself how amazing you are. Okay, you can stop doing that now. Or you can carry on. That's fine. It's all good. So that is the body boost. And what this will do for you is it is going to give you a more powerful presence when you talk. It is going to help you captivate your audience. And it's going to help you just feel more calm. And I'd love, like, for any of you that were actually doing the exercise, like, how do you feel like after doing the body boost? Oh yeah, thumbs up. Thank you. Yeah, thumbs up. It's good, isn't it? It's really good. It's so simple too. Yeah, feeling better. Yeah, it's good. It's good, isn't it? And it's a reminder of how powerful our bodies are. Yeah, it feels great. Taller. Yeah, like you're literally like making yourself taller. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Okay, so that was the body boost. The third tip for like instantly boosting your confidence. Now this one is to do with the breath. And this is a really, really neat one for either before you go to speak, or actually you can use it in the middle of speaking. And all it's kind of doing is it's about evening out our breath. So you remember I was saying before that, you know, that one of the things that really helps us communicate with confidence is when we're able to harness our full breath and our full voice. What can happen is when we get nervous, we start to maybe breathe more shallowly, you know, maybe from our chest. And then what happens when we start to do that is it just kind of, it makes us feel even more anxious. And what we can do is we can do this recentering breath exercise, which literally can take a few seconds. So we're going to practice it now, and you can do this sitting down or standing up in basically any situation. So just to practice it now, I want you to breathe in and imagine your breath going down the front of your spine. And as you breathe out up the back of your spine, all the way to the top of your head, and imagine your breath coming out of your nose like a shower from the top of your head. Feel your feet on the floor, and then do it again. Breathe in down the front of your spine. Breathe out up the back of your spine, up the top of your head, and out your nose. It's so simple, and yet nobody will know if you're doing it. What it does is it evens out your breath. It brings you into the present moment. So you can use this, as I said, before you go and talk, or you can do it like in the middle of doing a speech, just to take a moment. So what I've shared with you is a mind trick, a body boost, and breathing to recenter. And some of these like are quite small things to try, but what I would say is that small shifts lead to massive changes. It was nice, wasn't it? Yeah. It's really nice. It's very calming. And yeah, and we're gonna come on to a question and answer session shortly. And remember, these exercises will be shared in handouts with you. But what I'd like to know from you all is, what out of these three things are you going to take away and actually go away and use? How are you going to use them? Like, I want to know, like, how are you actually going to use this stuff? And whilst you're thinking about that and popping it in the chat, Just to mention that in mid-May, I'm going to be running a webinar on how to handle difficult conversations with confidence. And details of that will be shared with you too. And in that talk, I share, what are the myths around handling difficult conversations with confidence, and then what are the keys to having difficult conversations. Oh, you're going to try out the body boost. Yes, get big, people. Yeah, small shifts, massive changes. Yeah, the mind trick. Oh, body boost. Yeah. Could we enhance on the mind trick with additional exercises? Yeah, well, absolutely you could. It's all about beginning to actually choose our thoughts rather, it's kind of like we want to lead our thoughts rather than letting our thoughts lead us. So when we kind of notice that little pattern of negative thinking coming in, saying, hang on a minute, actually, what is it that I would like to think instead? Yeah. Oh, is it similar to NLP? Possibly. I'm not trained in NLP. But I suppose it is, isn't it? It's using the power of our mind and our communication. What about the old adage of feeling more in control by imagining the audience as naked? Well, if that works for you, great. It's not one that I think I would use. I think that would just freak me out. But isn't it? It's like different horses for different courses. Yeah, I think it really is about finding what works for you. For some people, it is going to be, okay, actually just really feeling how big and powerful I can be is really helpful. And for others, it's going to be more around, okay, how do I manage my self-talk? Or how do I just remember to breathe when I'm speaking? Or imagine your audience in their pajamas. And you're in your pajamas. Oh my God. Fantastic. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me for this workshop. Do you have any other questions? You can either pop in the chat or feel free to unmute yourselves.
Can I just say thank you so much, Helen? Oh. I really enjoyed it. It's to say the mind, the body, and the breathing. And as Helen was saying, we can stay here for a good 10 minutes. For those of you who want to go to the next session, it starts at 1:10. So you just have to exit the room and then go back to the agenda. But Helen kindly is going to stay behind for a few minutes. So thank you for that. And whilst I wait on questions to appear on the chat, I will actually share something with you, Helen. But you mentioned the body trick. And you said, oh, you might get caught in the bathroom. I have many times because I do that. So I definitely agree with you. And so I've been caught in the bathroom doing that and pulling faces. And people just smile. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But I will definitely try the mind trick. Thank you so much. That was amazing too. And so we have loads of people thanking you because it was so cool. Thank you. Any questions for Helen? How can we give the handouts out, Helen?
I'm not entirely sure, but I am told that people will get them. That's a very good question. I've been asking that too. Yes, we'll make sure that they get to people.
I would add something from my experience that what works for me is looking at the mirror and smiling. Just looking at my eyes and smiling, it helps. It also boosts hormones.
Yes. Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Because they say that, if you smile and even if you're not feeling happy, you know, if you smile, it's telling your brain something, and it releases the chemicals that you get when you're feeling happy. And so it does, like, actually, if you deliberately smile, it changes your state. Oh, that's a great tip. Thank you. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. I feel very calm and absolutely fine before starting my speech, but as soon as I open my mouth, I feel nervous. Any tips? Ah. Mm. Hmm. I think it's about, I suppose for me, maybe it's about maybe it's practicing that initial part of your speech so that it just really flows, like, and you know, like, whatever happens, you know, whatever is going on around you, it's gonna come out, like, like that, you know, you're very clear on your thinking and what it is that you want to communicate to your audience, and it's focusing on that, focusing on them, rather than letting yourself go to that internal mind chatter. Yeah. And I think that the breathing as well, because, you know, I think even the most, like, experienced communicators can still get that, you know, get the nerves, get the butterflies in the stomach. And that's just, like, that's completely normal. So sometimes it is just remembering to breathe. How about adding some humor at the outset to break the ice? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I love that. I mean, I was like, there are different contexts, I guess, aren't there? Like, where humor might be appropriate, where it might not be so much. But certainly, like, for Toastmasters settings, you know, humor is a fantastic thing to use. Okay. Yeah, doing the power posing before, and it will continue to work for you. Absolutely. Yeah.
And there's a curious question, Helen, from Sarup on what do singers do before a concert?
Ooh. Well, I'm not a professional singer. I do sing in a choir. And I've worked with a vocal coach whose background was in singing and drama and stuff. And it is interesting because I think there is a real overlap, you know, in terms of, like, the vocal warm-ups. I think there's definitely something around being able to free up your breath and your voice by doing vocal warm-ups, you know, even if it's just practicing, you know, consonants, or it's, there are various kind of techniques to start freeing your breath, freeing your voice, you know, kind of getting your mouth moving, getting your body moving. And I think there are similarities with singers. Yeah. I mean, certainly, you know, whenever we have a choir rehearsal, we will start with vocal warm-ups. You know, we'll go up and down the scales, and we'll practice kind of bringing our voice to the front of our mouths as well. And I think that has, you know, lessons for us as speakers.
What do you do, Helen? How do you bring your voice, as you say, to the front of our mouths?
It's they get us to do these buzzy exercises. It's like kind of woo, woo. Or sometimes like we have to practice like this woo, woo. And you, like, end up looking very silly, but it works. It's literally it's bringing your voice to the front.
Right. We kind of reverberate the skin on the lips. And
Yes.
Ah.
Yes. So it's not kind of held at the back, but it then helps you when you start to sing to project it out. Yes.
Thank you. And Sarup was also thanking you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
About a minute or so. Any final questions for Helen? Yes, Alexander, do you want to go on mute? Off mute. Hang on, let me help you.
Yes, yes. Could you share with us a quick tip what to do in a moment of panic in the middle of our speech, just a blank mind, what to do?
A couple of things. I think one of the things that actually can be helpful is to acknowledge it, because it's almost like the audience, they're probably going to notice that something's going on. So sometimes like the easiest thing is just to like acknowledge it and say, do you know what, I've just lost my train of thought for a moment there. And then take a breath and just let yourself kind of recenter. Like, you know, it's almost like making it not a big deal. It's just acknowledge, oh, you know, I had a really great thought there and it's just gone. and then just taking a moment to recenter. Yeah, or yeah, take a glass of water, indeed. Just give yourself that permission just to pause and take the time to think, okay, what is it that I want to say next? Yeah, I mean, I suppose other techniques are things like, depending on the context, you know, if somebody say has asked you a question, then there's always like the lovely technique of like repeating the question, because that then gives you a little bit of time to process it and come back. Yeah.
Cool. I think unfortunately we need to leave it there, but thank you so much, Helen, for giving us the workshop and then staying behind. No, really, really appreciate it. And I can tell from the chat, as so does the audience. So thank you again.
My pleasure. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you.
See you all very soon.